guys, it is Tanya, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another speed build. I am so excited to share this one with you guys today because for the first time in a while, I am not only doing a community lot, but I'm doing a lot that is multifunctional. So this kind of serves as a couple different lot options. You can decide what you listed it as, but I have this being kind of a little square, essentially, that has a bookshop, a coffee shop, and then there's an apartment above it. It's a combination of a bunch of suggestions that I've gotten, and I thought it would be a really, really fun idea to go ahead and build that. So that's what we're doing here today, and you're gonna see me change the shape of it a lot. I had so much fun figuring out the shape of this and using a combination of the doors and windows that came with both Discover University and some base game ones as well to kind of get the storefront vibe for these small stores. These are all very small properties on this lot, as this is only a 20 by 15 lot that has 3 different things combined into one building. The building itself is a very strange shape and design, but I really like how it came out. It was just kind of me experimenting. I knew what I wanted the front of the bookstore to look like, and then I kind of experimented along the way to figure out how the rest was going to look, and I came up with a really funky shape. So I hope you guys do enjoy it. And this lot, if you're interested in purchasing it in game, is around 88,000 simoleons. So it's not cheap, but you're getting 2 businesses and an apartment, so I don't think it's too bad either. So we're just figuring out the shape here. The bookstore ends up being front and center, and then off to the left side we do have the little cafe option, which is using the items that came with Get Together, I believe. So you have like the barista station and some booth seating in there, sort of. I'm using like the booths against a wall so you can kind of lounge in there. And then there's a lot of outdoor seating as well, because I really like that vibe for cafes and coffee shops and stuff to have the outdoor seating. And I thought it made a lot of sense for some university students. So you'll see that in a little bit. And then off to the right side, there is just a door that when you go inside, there's a staircase. You can go upstairs to the apartment, or you can go downstairs to the laundry room. And well, there is only one apartment on this lot. I kind of built the laundry room as if it were connected to a few different apartments because I just really liked how that looked. But of course, you can change that into whatever room you'd like if you'd want it to be just more living space for that apartment, or if you want to add other apartments to this lot so they have a shared laundry area. I just thought it made sense to have like a basement laundry room in an apartment, so that's what I went ahead and did. And we're just working on the roof now. I do make it a darker color, and I changed it a lot because, as you probably saw from the thumbnail and the little fly-in shot in the beginning, it's a weird shaped roof. It's a weird shaped building, and so it took quite a bit of fiddling to figure out what the end shape was going to be. So hopefully you guys don't mind how it took for the roof to come together. I know it was kind of probably like frustrating to watch, but at the same time lately I've been getting a lot of comments when I do spend a lot of time on a roof or a floor plan that makes you guys feel good, that you know that you're not the only ones doing that, because it definitely does take a lot of practice and a lot of trial and error, and it doesn't come together perfectly every single time. I do sometimes cut out the frustration of it though, but other times it just takes so long, and I do things along the way that it makes more sense to keep it in. And yeah, so I am getting closer to the roof shape here. I don't know. It's a weird one, but I really enjoy that. I really enjoy when I can make roofs and shapes of houses that are different than something I've done before. So I think they're like really unique, and I feel like it just makes me improve my building abilities, I suppose, because you're given like something a little bit more challenging. Granted, I created this, but I was giving myself a weird shape to work with to kind of make a cool roof, and also one that I felt like encompassed both shops, the style and the area a little bit, as well as having an apartment above. So definitely a challenge in itself, but hopefully you guys think I did an okay job. Please let me know what you think down below, of course, because this is the first time I've done something like this. Well, technically, I have done like townhouses years ago, like 2017 time, that one of them was a flower shop that had an apartment above it, I believe. Yeah, so that was cool, but it's been a really long time since I've done something like this. So of course, any feedback is greatly appreciated. And of course, on that same note, if you guys thought of any ideas based on this that you'd like to suggest, I'd love to hear them. Please sound those off down below. I love reading your suggestions, and a lot of times they end up being turned into builds like this was. Granted, this was a combination of a bunch of different suggestions, but a lot of times I just directly am like yes to that and I make it. So I love hearing your suggestions all the time, and I know I mentioned that in every video, but like I do, it's so fun. I love hearing feedback. I love chatting with you guys, knowing how everyone's doing, and of course taking suggestions, so keep them coming. But here we are, just figuring out this little balcony. There's nothing out there. I thought about putting an easel out there later, because I do end up putting an easel in the upstairs apartment, but I didn't like how it looked outside. I like the idea of it, but for pictures, I was like, no, I don't want just an easel sticking out from the top floor. So I did get rid of that in the end, or at least move it back to the inside of the building, but you can move it back out there. It's a very small 3x1 spaced balcony, but I think it's nice still to have that place for your sim to go outside and just look around. So I thought that was kind of fun. I did imagine it was a student living there, so the interior is very like thrown together, random pieces, probably a lot of thrifting, DIYs, that kind of thing, but you could furnish it for whoever you'd like. Maybe it's the shop owner from downstairs, maybe it's a professor, or just anyone really. You don't even have to place this in Britechester like I did. I just thought it was a kind of a fun idea, and I'm still really enjoying the new world, so I bet there's still going to be a variety of university builds from here from now and every once in a while. I don't know the phrase I'm looking for. But anyway, we're in the bookstore now trying to furnish it a little bit. It ends up being very simple in here because it's such a small space, and I wanted to have a variety of bookshelves, or not like a variety, but a decent amount of bookshelves, and a couple of seating areas as well, so you can sit down and start reading a book if you're going to buy it, or just read a book because you can. It depends on how you're going to play this. If you're going to set this as a retail lot or not, or if you're going to set this as a residential lot and just live upstairs. Or maybe it's going to be a cafe and you buy the property and you technically own another lot, but you stay upstairs because it's easier. There's a lot of different ways you could play this lot, which I think is really cool. Although I still wish that we could have more than one lot type on one lot, so you didn't have to just switch back and forth between them or choose one or the other. Because that'd be so cool. I honestly would love that if these all actually functioned. You can go in and buy a book and then go next store and like read your book while you buy a coffee. That would just be so nice and so realistic to real life. But unfortunately, that's not a thing right now. But I guess we can just pretend, and that's kind of the purpose of this lot. I decided for the apartment area, it made sense to have a little fence around it so it didn't look like it was a storefront and people would just randomly try and walk into your front door or into the hallway for that apartment. So I put a fence around that to make it look a little bit more of a residential space. And then we're working on a couple more exterior decorations here. I'm adding a couple of planters as well as this little book cart. Maybe it's stuff that's on sale, or maybe it's one of those like take a book, leave a book things. I think those are really cute. So I love that item. Is that from Get to Work? I think it's from Get to Work. I sometimes get the things that came with Get Together and Get to Work confused for some reason. I think it's because I associate a lot of the retail stuff and Dine Out, all three of them. I associate the retail stuff with Get to Work, but then cafes I also think are in the same realm, and those came with Get Together. But then those are also in the same realm as restaurants, which came with Dine Out. So my head is always like, what pack was it? But I think that one's Get to Work. But we're in the bookstore again here, and I added those little flags, the little spirit flags for the two universities all around the walls. I thought it was kind of a cute idea because I did name this one Britechester, but the name of the town is Britechester, so it encompasses both schools, and it's in the central area of town, not on either campus. So I thought it was good to kind of represent both schools in this bookstore. This is where you can buy textbooks and just kind of chill and get to know people. Maybe there's some debates going on between the two schools. I think that would be kind of fun. I completely just talked over the floor plan for the upstairs apartment. Thankfully, it was a very simple floor plan. There wasn't much to go over. There wasn't a whole lot I could do with the space. And I got a weird glitch later on where I couldn't add or change any of the walls because it said that I couldn't attach walls to walls that were different heights. It was trying to make the walls I was building much smaller than the walls on that floor, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was, so I kept the floor plan as is. I didn't add or delete or move any walls upstairs and left it as is. Really no idea what that glitch was, but Luckily, what I had laid out worked perfectly fine for everything I wanted to fit into that apartment. But we're just continuing to work on the outside now because, as I had mentioned, I just skip back and forth so much in this build. I can't decide which part I want to work on at what time, so it's a little all over the place. So I apologize if it's a little bit hard to follow because of that. Or maybe it's refreshing because we're not just staying on the same thing for a long time. Granted, I think the apartment pretty much is all in one big chunk at the end, but I do go back and forth between the outside, the bookstore, and the cafe quite a bit. Caf and cafe are spelt the same way, but they are pronounced differently. Or caf might just be the incorrect pronunciation of cafe. Questions? Well, because when I think cafe, I think of coffee shop, but when I think caf, I think of like school cafeteria. I don't know. These are just random late night thoughts while I talk about a cafe in The Sims. But here I am placing a bunch of textbooks that are from the debug menu that came with Discover University. I thought they were pretty cool. Some of the covers are really cute, and so I quite enjoyed adding those to the shelves up here. Plus, they're just new items I hadn't seen, so I'm always happy to use some new items in my builds. I also added a couple of stacks of books on the register here. You'll see me move this register out and put it back way too many times. I just wanted everything to look perfect, and I was struggling with placement here. I don't know why. It's kind of like the same thing with I can't picture where things are. Or like I can't catch things. I have no hand-eye coordination. So when I'm like looking at that and I'm like, okay, I'm moving it out of the way and I have to put it back to where that was, I can't visualize properly where it was. So it takes me so long to figure out where to put it. But I'm also stacking a couple of books using the handy dandy red shelf to stack these over on the checkout area. I assumed maybe the sim that is coming in is buying these 2 books. I thought they were pretty cute. I don't think they're from Discover University, but I'm not sure. And then I added a pile of those magazines from the Mosquito stuff pack and the little cork board. And we're going to add another cork board in a little while, the one that looks like it's probably in a bookstore or outside a grocery store, that has like the little pull tabs for different things and like lost, missing, all of that kind of stuff. You know, those public cork boards you see around. So I did place that in here. I don't use that too often because I don't build a lot of community lots. But I'd like to know what other kind of community lots you guys would like to see, because I'd like to do more. I always put them off because I'm like, oh, I don't enjoy them as much. But this was so fun. Like, this was a really fun community lot. Granted, it does have a residential lot upstairs. But overall, community lot, 2 different lot types. So cool, and had so much fun with it. So I'm totally down to do another community lot in the near future, probably. I just need to figure out what that would be and get to it. And of course, do all of the holiday builds I want to do first. But anyway, we are placing down that corkboard I had mentioned. I think that's such a cute item. I believe both versions of that you can get are from base game, which is quite interesting that we have 2 of those. And then on top of these bookcases over here, I put the little mascot guys and these little figures. And then we put a couple of the flags up there for the schools as well. We should be adding those shortly. Here they are. It came out really, really cute, and like it's basically you can buy the little figures or the flags to support your school from your local bookstore. I just really liked that idea, so I enjoyed that. This whole place is a little bit cluttered and not overly decorated. It's a simple bookstore in this like old building in the middle of town. So I didn't want it to be too complicated. And same thing with the coffee shop, although I think the coffee shop is a little bit cuter, but I like them both a lot, and hopefully you guys like them too. I would totally be down to build another bookstore at some point, or a library. I think those are just such fun spaces to build. And here are those booth seating that I had mentioned. I was like, booth, stool. What am I trying to say? Booth seating that I had mentioned is just booths along the wall with tables in front of them. I didn't put chairs on the other side because I thought it would be a little bit hard to navigate. And I just wanted it to be some seating that was pretty casual and just like chill and comfy for your students to come and work on some homework or projects while they're here. I had a lot of fun decorating the tables in this coffee shop because I wanted it to make it look like there were students currently here working on projects, grabbing some coffee to stay awake for their late nights working on those like projects and homework. So one of the tables ends up having a laptop, the other one has this open book and a couple of other things on it. There's coffees everywhere, there's a couple of book bags. I just thought it was a bit of fun and quite enjoyed that because I think it's really realistic that students do that. I know that's very common in Starbucks and on-campus coffee shops as well. So that's definitely the vibe I was going for. And I feel like we have a decent amount of items that work well for this. I also put down an actual university homework, like, what would it be called? It's like a journal. I know that specific journal has a name because we had a name for them when your teachers were talking about that type of journal with the black and white, like speckled journals, but I can't think of what they're called right now. But that's what the university homework looks like, and I placed that down. I also have headphones in a USB drive over by this laptop, and I am using the new laptop that came with university, which is so cute because it has little stickers on the back, which I know is super realistic. I did that in university as well. My laptop had a bunch of little stickers. They were all stickers I made though. Like, I don't know why. Well, I mean, I was a design student, so they were for projects, but I never put any other stickers on it, only ones that I made. So I guess it was a very personalized laptop, but I don't have them on my laptop anymore, but I still have that one. Yeah. Anyway, this is the bathroom that is in the bookshop, not the bookshop. It's in the coffee shop technically, but it's kind of just me like right on the wall of the bookshop. I realized I didn't have a bathroom in either of those lots, and I thought that was kind of an important thing to have if you're visiting here instead of living upstairs. And there wasn't room for using the bathroom stalls. I'm glad we have those for certain community lots, but I don't see myself using them that often because they're really, really big, and it takes up less space to just have a bathroom that you build out of walls like I did. So now we are down in the basement working on the laundry room that I had mentioned earlier. It's very simple, just counters, a sink, washers and dryers, and a couple of chairs, as well as a table to go ahead and fold your laundry on. Super simple. Didn't want to over decorate it. I wanted it to be incredibly realistic to real life. I feel like I've never been in an exciting decorated laundry room before. They all look like that. They're really boring. And so that's just kind of what I was trying to get across. Granted, laundry rooms in like people's houses can be pretty, but I feel like the ones that are in apartment basements they're just not. But let me know. Does anyone here have a really pretty basement apartment laundry? The sentence just sounded really weird in my head. But they've all just looked the same to me. And actually in one of my apartments when I was in high school, going down to do the laundry, it was disgusting down there. It was always flooded, and you had to walk through like, they were storage units, but they looked like just weird caged jail cells, and it was dark and creepy, and there were spiders, and it was just not a good time. Now I'm just talking about basements. But anyway, this is the living room area. I finally got to use this bookshelf from Discovery University with the cinder blocks on the bottom. I think it's such a cute like DIY type bookcase, and I believe that was originally one of the concepts for like the starter stuff pack that didn't win the vote in the original community voted stuff pack. So I think it's really cool that even when packs don't win in that, we still sometimes get some items from that. Another great example is that Laundry Day's original concept was off the grid, but then Laundry beat it, but we still got the off the grid lot trait with Island Living or around then. I don't know, did that come with Island Living or is that a base game update? I'm not entirely sure, but it's still cool that we eventually did get that. But anyway, just kind of mixing, matching furniture in here. I wanted it to look super random, lots of thrift store finds, because I did imagine this was a student that just kind of threw together what they could find and maybe brought some things from home, found some things, got some stuff for cheap at secondhand shops. Maybe the flea market in San Myshuno would be a nice place to hit up as well to furnish their little apartment up here. And I have an easel that I had mentioned, and yeah, it's fairly simple up here. It's just kind of really mismatched. So if you're like, that doesn't match Tanya, that looks bad, it was intentional. So hopefully that comes across. I think it looks cute. It's just very mismatch. And actually at one point, we'll see in a little while, I made the bedroom a little bit too matchy-matchy. I had like purple curtains, so I got rid of them and put up different curtains. Granted, they're beige, so they just match the walls, but I didn't want them to match the bed. So yeah, I think the curtains are kind of ugly, but they probably either given to the sim for free or really cheap or hand-me-downs or whatever. I just kind of like the idea of nothing being super matchy-matchy and it kind of just being thrown together. I know that's pretty realistic, at least for me when I first moved out on my own. Me and my boyfriend moved into our first apartment together, and it was all over the place. We had a black futon we bought at Walmart, and then we had one brown leather chair paired with a black futon. Ew. And we didn't have a coffee table for a long time, or a kitchen table. And then once we got a kitchen table, it only had 3 chairs because it was a hand-me-down from my aunt. And one of the chairs had broken years previously. So, yeah. Anyway, that's basically my explanation on the random furniture. It's super realistic to me to not have everything or have things that don't match if you're just starting out. So, yeah, here's those ugly brown curtains or beige curtains. I think the curtains are cute, but the color, just not good. They're the same color as the shades below it. That's just not a good look, and they match the walls too. I don't like it, but that's kind of why I put it there. And then we're just adding the digitalistic sketch pad over on the coffee table and a little mirror over on this wall. I love this couch. It looks like a big comfy couch you could find at a secondhand shop for really cheap or even on the side of the road. It just looks so cozy. So I love using that couch. And yeah, just finishing up the bathroom, and then we're going to be going into screenshots. I hope you guys did enjoy this build. If you did, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I'd love to have you join us. And if you click that bell, it'll turn on notifications so you'll be notified of every single time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.